The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, could you soon be entitled to a 5-day-a-year paid mental health break? It's a hot button issue. Also tonight, it's become a creative argument. Prime Minister Davis questioning F&M leader Michael Pintard's professional experience and if he's qualified to lead a country. Pintard responds. Not only is Pintard responding, UB professor Dr. Ian Strawn in a post on Facebook did a mic drop moment when he listed several leaders on varying levels who held different professions before they went to become senator, representative, president. We'll tell you more about that. Also, the race for the Killarney seat gets interesting. Tonight, we hear who in the F&M is vying for that F&M stronghold. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. There is a discussion, to put it in simple terms, ongoing to overhaul the Labor Laws and Employment Act in the Bahamas. One thing that's already getting major attention is a push to introduce 5 paid mental health days annually for workers. Now, it's in the discussion phase, but already there are strong opinions on the idea. And so we're going to jump in right there this evening. Again, this is just initial discussions. You all saw the headlines, and certainly, of course, many people, including business owners, want to know more. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. The president of the BCPOU, Sherry Benjamin. Good evening to you. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Lovely to see you. I imagine trade unionists like yourself, like they are maybe more in support of this?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, from last year, when I sent in my proposal for ZNS, I would have put that as a part of my proposal, the mental health leave, because when I look at the people that I represent and the issues that they face on a daily basis, when you look at the reporters at ZNS or the cameramen who have to go on these gruesome murder scenes every single day, or every time it happens, you got these accidents, all these various things that happen, tragic stuff that happens, people burning up in fires, people drowning. It plays on the mental psyche of my members. And sometimes they just need to take a reset.
You're right.
They just need to take a reset. It's not that they have a mental illness. That's different. The 5 days is intended to allow them to take that mental reset.
Well, one may ask, though, in considering this, and again, this is all just on the table to consider as you all meet with labor and many other stakeholders. And when I say you all, I mean trade unionists and employers and the labor department, and everybody come together to see what the new Employment Act and labor laws will look like. But has it been considered? Because police see the same thing, right, firsthand. Have you considered maybe, or as a part of the consideration for this, having maybe a mental health professional available? Because you're right. I mean, my first gruesome scene as a news reporter, I'll never forget it. A Saturday morning, I don't even want to repeat it. A gentleman had an unfortunate traffic accident, and just what I saw on the road was I couldn't sleep, and the police officers were like numbed, because after they were done, they said, so what are we having for breakfast? And in slow motion, I went like this.
But they say that, and they pretend as if it doesn't bother them, but when they go home, they can't sleep at night. So it bothers them.
Right. So when they have these 5 days, is what I'm asking, the reporter in my industry have our 5 days and all, because it is a lot. It's a lot. There's a reporter who decided that he needed to step away from the industry for a while for the same reason you were saying, because it is a lot. But then the thing is, how does the workforce, how does the police force look? How does media look in any other job space?
And that is why we sought to have it on a national level, not just restricted to unionized environment, because the Employment Act sets the minimum standards for labor in this country. And so we sought for it to be on a national level so that everyone could be affected. Because a good gentleman would have said, what about, where does it end? What about the janitress? What about...
because they may feel too like, listen, man, shoots, man, I tired cleaning up after these people.
Yeah.
I need a break.
But again, it's not so much that they're tired cleaning up after the people. It's just sometimes, when we look at the level of suicide in this country, Shanique,
It is worrisome.
when we look at that, it's not that these people have mental illness, you know. Mental illness is a different level. That's where you would need to go and see a psychiatrist or whatever. Sometimes people just need a reset.
A recalibration, something.
Yeah, sometimes
But
it
have you
needs...
thought about, because we know in many workspaces that Bahamians tend, especially in the public areas, Bahamians tend to take advantage of already in some union agreements have like maybe 2 sick days a month, or the law is 7 a year. Some people we know take advantage of that, right? So like someone jokingly said to me late this afternoon, man, Shanique, man, shoots, man, I may need a mental health break just to go to Miami. How is that going to be controlled?
And see, that's why you have the policing aspect of it. Right now, the proposal is for them to, just how if you need a sick day from the doctor, you can go to a mental professional, someone in that field, and say to them, hey, listen, X, Y, Z is the case. I'm a police. I'll go to the police. I'm a police. And I just witnessed or was a part of a shootout where I had to literally discharge my weapon and kill someone, and I can't sleep. Then that mental professional will have that conversation with that person, even if it's someone, like you say, on staff, and say, hey, you know what? You go and take a day off, catch yourself, go get a massage, do something. And then not to say travel, because there are ways that you can police it. And of course, like anything, we know that we have persons who will find a loophole in everything. But we cannot look at those persons who will find that loophole and judge the good thing that the minister is trying to do or to implement, and put that and say, hey, listen, we're going to disregard that because there is a possibility that it could be taken advantage of. We need to look at it from a holistic standpoint and say, what good could this do for the masses, not just for the employer or for the employee. What good could it do for the country? A healthy workforce
benefits everyone.
Benefits everybody.
Yeah, worker and employer.
Exactly.
Now, is the thought, and again, I know it's in its initial phases of discussion and everything, but is the thought to add this on or make this a part of those 7 days that's by law every year, or is it a separate standalone thing?
It's a separate standalone thing. The 7 days is actually for if you have medical challenges. If you have medical challenges, if I go to a doctor, let's say I have a case of a bad flu, or I have a broken limb or something, the 7 days would cover that at full pay. After that 7 days, then you go down to, if you have an industrial agreement. For my industrial agreement, I have 23 days, I have 23 days that my members could call in sick with a doctor's certificate. I have 10 days that they can call in without a doctor's certificate. That's what I would have negotiated.
You're a good president.
I try.
To talk to you on the side after this segment.
That is what I negotiated. Like I say, the Employment Act sets the minimum standard. So we're not looking for an organization like BTC or ZNS. we have to look and see how that would fit in to that particular organization, because it's not one cap fit all. But we cannot disregard it and say that, hey, there's too many loopholes or whatever. Just try to clog those loopholes.
As you
In
move
BTC, I'm
forward.
sure we're going to get the pushback because we also have emergency days.
Your
Yeah.
Well, how much more days y'all want? You know,
It's
people
what
have,
you-
people
no,
people have
listen.
asked. People say, hold on, it's holidays. It's then the whatever your industrial
So
agreement.
then the
whether two-
conversation then becomes, how do you incorporate that? Because of course you need to maintain the workforce. How do you incorporate that now? And that would be a conversation as a trade unionist. We would be happy, I would be happy to have with my employers, because we have those benefits that are in our industrial agreement. But this is not for me. Not just when I say the bill is not geared towards me or the BCPOU that have those lucrative
Right,
industrial
it's
agreements.
national.
It's a national level. It's a
Yeah.
national conversation. There are a lot of unionized environments that don't have the benefits that we have. What about those people? What about that? Even some of the entities that I represent, they don't have the kind of benefits that we have. In BTC, it took us years to get to that. We're still trying to build things in our other entities. But this mental health is going to cover on a national level. It's going to cover the security officers who may be witnesses to crime and are just overwhelmed. It's going to cover that hotel worker who may have been harassed and bullied by the person who was occupying the room or whatever.
I understand what you're saying, because and you can't tell someone how they've been affected or impacted by an experience, but who's going to determine to say, listen, man, hold on, you hit your toe, you need a what? Who is going to determine? Yeah. You know, some things are just more like, okay, understandable, and others are like, you're reaching.
But again, and that's where the requirement comes in for you to go from based on the recommendation. If it's passed, it requires you to go to a mental specialist, a mental health specialist, who will then determine whether or not you qualify for that mental day.
Now, a question that employers, because I spoke with a few employers late this afternoon, who's to pay? NIB? In fact, I see Robert Farquharson as well in the papers asking this one. Who is paying? NIB? The employer? You'll add new additional union dues? Like how is this going to be covered?
Well, I'm not certain on who is going to pay, but if I'm going to negotiate it in my contract like I'm negotiating now, I'm expecting the employer to pay. I'm expecting the employer to pay. And that's because that's something that I'm adding to my industrial agreement. But I'm going to have that conversation with the management team at the entities that I represent, right, to say, hey, listen, this is the value that you putting this in this agreement would bring to your organization. You can't just recommend something and then don't put a value to it. You have to show the employer how this will help and build your organization
and bring about greater productivity.
Exactly, and a healthy workforce is a productive workforce. Now we're going to have people who come out and say the workforce in the Bahamas is crap, but I beg to differ.
I don't even want to go there, Madam President.
I beg to differ, and I will support the workers in this country with my entire being. Like I said, in every profession, you're going to have someone who is going to be unscrupulous. There is no profession in this country or in this world that you won't have someone who's going to try and find a loophole to get around it. But do you lump all of them?
No.
Everyone that works in that profession in that category, or you put the bad apples in one category and you look at the greater good? Because you have more good people. You hear people talk about the police every day. I don't believe that all of the police force is bad. There are one or two bad apples, but the majority of the police force are good, hardworking, dedicated employees.
Yes. And at the end of the day, the reason this was brought up, I imagine, to be included in what this reformatted, overhauled labor law is because we see the need for mental health breaks, truly. But besides everything I have kind of put in there, we see what's happening in our nation and people being unable to cope on different levels.
I think it's revolutionary. I believe that the minister is doing an excellent job in running her ministry. And if she wasn't, I'd been the first to tell her. But I think she's doing an excellent job. And I think that the amendments that have been recommended, we know that all of them will not make the final cut. But I think an overhaul of the Employment Act is a good thing. It's badly needed. The Employment Act, the Industrial Relations Act.
Yes,
and
how old are they?
Well, the last Industrial Relations Amendment, I think, was 2017. But even then, between that time and now, there have been a lot of industry changes. And we got to keep pace and change with the times.
In fact, ahead of the
times.
Yeah.
Right. We have to change. We have to adapt to change. And so many things have changed. Right now, you have AI doing a lot of work.
Sure.
That's
replacing many
replacing the workforce.
Yeah.
And so you have to make the changes to adapt with the times. But again, you also have to make changes that would protect the human capital in this country. And I think that is most important to any government. The survival of any government is to make sure that the human capital is protected over anything.
Madam President, I thank you so much. Sherry Benjamin, President of the BCPOU. Obviously, this is a first discussion, just even a first talk about something that's wide sweeping. I got a glimpse of a whole lot. This is not the only thing that's being proposed.
No, it's
but
not.
Certainly perhaps something that's going to be quite emotive once it really gets out there. But thank you for coming by and just introducing us to the idea so we can hear it and hear the thought behind it. And we look forward to hearing more.
And it will be open to public discussion, so we will have the public as a part of the stakeholders having their input on all of the recommendations, not just this, but all of the recommendations they will be able to provide their input on. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much once again, Madam President. Sherry Benjamin, President of the BCPOU. When we come back, I'm going to get response because I have two business owners here. I'll get response on how they think about that very, very quickly. Then we're going to jump into what's become the creative argument. Is there any creativity in this argument? I tell you the truth, but things about to get lit. We're back right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Enjoy zero-down financing on your next visit to Montague Motors. Our selection of cars come included with license, inspection, and a 3-month warranty. And with our easy 24 hours financing, you will be on the road in up to 48 hours. What makes Montague Motors different? We inspect our cars in Japan, providing you with the best quality purchase. Visit Montague Motors today, number 6 Village Road. Call or check our Facebook page for more information.
Wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin. And when your head
7.5 years, but I walk in here all of a sudden, total stranger. I'm calling you Rick and Sheila. Like,
At Island Lock, we take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Luck Sportsbook.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We're back live, so we're going to just move away from that discussion. But we're going to pick, I tell you, it happens even during the breaks, I'm telling you. So welcome back. Now, we're going to jump right into the Hot Topics panel discussion. My contributors are here this evening, and they have a lot of hope. I know many of you are talking as well about this idea. And it's not just employers, you know. Many people are saying, man, hold up, man. You think Bahamians need something else? And other times, Madam President, don't look at me, because if you look at me that kind of attitude, you're going to have to leave. But listen, welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Contributors Ellington Ferguson and Branville McCartney. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
good evening.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Your response, gentlemen, to this idea, it's just an idea for now, of 5 paid mental health days a year that's being proposed to make up and shift what this new Employment Act or employer looks like in the Bahamas.
Well, Shanique, first of all, I think Madam President of the Union spoke about that this is the beginning of it. I hope that this is just the beginning of the discussion. I hope the number 5 is just something that they put out there and the room.
Would you want more?
No. No, I think you look at, they have 7 sick days, and you talk about mental illness. Illness talk about something sick, some sickness. I think we need to be careful of the amount of these days that we pile on to employers in the country. We don't want to overburden and overtax, especially as it relates to small business. There are a number of large business who have some things in place and stuff like that. But when you talk about putting these extra burden on these small businesses, you got to be careful of that, of pushing these business out of business. It's a good thing that we look at the mental health of people that work in certain areas, but then we've got to make sure, have this discussion, where does it stop? How far does it go? What are the parameters? We know we have with the initial 7 days of sick leave, we know how much that has been abused. And so while we look into this other area, we got to look at tightening this up these areas. So in the discussion, if we can talk about how do we police it, how do we ensure this, and maybe we just need to add on 2 or 3 days more to the 7, but another whole 5 days. I mean, that is a little much.
I think the definition of mental health has to be specifically defined. Mental health, you're speaking about mental health days. What falls within that category? Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Or otherwise? What falls or what qualifies as mental health? That's the first thing that needs to be determined, right? Because if it's stress, everybody got stress.
Who's showing up to work?
Everybody got stress. Nobody can work if it's stress. If it's anxiety, everybody got anxiety. Bills got to be paid.
Exactly.
Bills got to be paid, right? Jesus, Look at the Prime Minister. Who got more stress than the Prime Minister? He
take
takes
a
some
year
days
off.
off because of mental health. It really has to be defined. We do have a mental health problem in this country. There's no doubt about that. But taking days off, we have sick days now. And the meaning of sick, mental health falls within that category as it stands now. I've had persons in my businesses and stuff take time out because they were stressed, right? So it's happening now. And I had people in my business took those sick days because they had to go to Miami.
Yeah.
You understand?
But they're entitled to the sick days.
And the bottom line with this workforce that we got in this country, they don't play. In the sense that it's deplorable. It's deplorable. Our workforce in this country is terrible. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I know this as a fact. And you don't think they will take advantage of 5 more days? I had an employee just yesterday told me, and this is no joke. She took all her vacation and she said, "Oh,
I got 6.
I got 7 more sick days to go." Right?
Surely you jest.
Come on. That's the truth. We need to really look into it. I like what was said, though. It's going to be a discussion across the board. Has to be discussion with the employees and employees of this country. And it really has to be very strict, very tight. Because look, Bahamians take advantage of this, man. Just like they're taking advantage of sick days. So, I mean, if it's going to go forward, mental health has to be defined. What category falls within that? And then it's a policing of it.
Yes.
You know?
And who's going to do that?
Business people stress every day.
Because of these.
Every day. Right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and the country got to run. So we really got to make it tight if we're going to move on.
If I got 5
this,
of you and 2 of you always taking all these sick days, or then now you're taking these 5 days, I'm going to cut my staff down to 3.
See, you hit that.
And then those three, then when those 3 start taking those days off, you ain't got nobody working.
Because now they're stressed because they're having to make up for them.
They ain't got nobody working.
So it's a lot to think about. It's a great idea. We know mental health is an issue here, and we know it sounds so fancy in the United States. You know, you're taking Mental Health Day. But the thing is, you know, it's something to really give real thought to and properly plan out. But we're going to move forward, gentlemen. Tonight, the Free National Movement is ridiculing Prime Minister Philip Davis for his recent remarks against F&M leader Michael Pintard, emphasizing what they call an attack on Pintard's career, and was also a hit to Bahamian creatives. The statement said at a time when the economy is struggling to keep pace with rising inflation, shrinking stopover visitors, and growing pressure on families and small businesses, now is not the time to be dismissing or devaluing any sector of our workforce. To suggest that these professions are not real jobs is an affront to the many Bahamians who rely on their creative talents to earn a living and support their families. The statement continues, the F&M rejects the idea that political leadership should only come from a select class of lifelong politicians. In fact, the mindset is part of the very problem we are trying to fix. This is a statement from the Free National Movement. F&M officials are promising that if elected, they will see the full potential of this country and will build a Bahamas for what they call the majority and not a few. Well, let's keep it moving. Dr. Ian Strawn, a creative himself and professor at the University of the Bahamas, is jumping in this row. Dr. Strawn simply, without comment, just listed, in fact, you see it right there on the screen, several presidents, representatives, senators, opposition leaders, and other professions were also submitted to me outside of what's popular in the Bahamas to say, listen, these people were elected. I mean, I don't know if we want to see Zelensky on that on that list. There's John Bertrand Aristide. I can't make out the other people there, but you all see the names there. Ronald Reagan,
Michael
an actor,
Joseph Martelly.
Martelly. Listen, when he used to perform on the stage and all that stuff, and we see with the state of Haiti,
Reagan,
but we see the state. Listen, but President Reagan credited of being one of the best Republican presidents in the United States. Meanwhile though, and Michael Pintado ain't letting none of it slide. He himself released this video stating, yes, he is a creative and proud.
I'm not your usual politician. I'm not the lawyers that you've been used to. I'm not the doctor you've been used to. I'm trained as an agriculturalist. I studied anti-money laundering and compliance. I'm a creative. So when I see Jonker News, I say, that's me. When I see a play on the stage, I say, yeah, that's me. When I see a piece of art on the wall, I say, that's me. But the truth of the matter is, I am no less qualified than any of you that have ever ascended to this position. And the fundamental difference between me and those that lead now is that I feel the pain. I don't drive through a corner without wondering, how can we help? And so I ask you as I take my seat, when you have a bad employee, what you do?
Well, it's certainly become a creative argument. I couldn't find another something smart to say. But you can't deny that, gentlemen. The FNM is obviously running with this one. I mean running. They quickly released that. You saw it. Is this a faux pas Prime Minister Davis wishes he could retract or needs to retract, gentlemen?
I don't think it's anything that he needs to retract. On the other hand, I don't think it's anything that is demeaning to Mr. Pintado and his career. I think this is the political season that we're in, and we're going to hear a lot of these things go back and forth. I don't think if you have someone that is qualified, that have demonstrated good leadership, be they a lawyer, be they a poet, a doctor, or a tile layer, a contractor, anybody that have demonstrated good leadership and a proven track record can rise to the point of becoming member of parliament, and even in some cases.
So you were kind of following the path of Prime Minister Davis. You used some key words there. You were saying proven track record.
Yes, of course. Well, to come into national leadership, Shanique, you've got to have something to say, well, why you deserve, first of all, to be a representative of this particular or that particular constituency to start with, or to become a member of parliament, to have an opportunity at becoming party leader and consequently, if possible, prime minister. So yes, you have to be able to say, well, I've been successful in this, I've started this business, or I've done this community work, I've done building in this community. Something, it can't just be you show up from the side of the road and just figure you can just go. And sometimes we've had cases like that. People just came from nowhere, never had a successful business and trying to run the country's business. No, that is nothing that we want. So I think if Pintado had been successful in his career as an actor, playwright, we would go to Hollywood. There's some actors in Hollywood right now that come here and everybody will be looking up to them and clamoring all over them. So if he's been successful in those areas and have done good, hey, kudos to him, let's go. Once you show that you're qualified to do something.
It's political season.
Absolutely.
And in politics, it's like the saying, there's no fairness in love and war. We're looking at now political war. Yep. What the Prime Minister said, I think we're wasting a lot of time on this, quite frankly. That's his personal view, and he has a right for his personal view. That's how he feels about Pintado. He feels Pintado is a poet or pirate or whatever. That's how he feels. And he don't need to retract it. If that's how he feels, right? Pintado could come back and say other things as well. But I think we need to pass that, man. This is a waste of time. And then these, artisans and musicians and all that stuff making noise? Mm-hmm. No. Please, man. You should have something better to do. You really should have something better to do. Let's move on and let's deal with some real issues in this country.
So, gentlemen, it was not a slight slap in the face, a put down of singers, whoever.
I don't see.
No, man. I don't think the Prime Minister meant that in any way. He was speaking about what his his position was on the leader of the opposition. And did he say anything wrong? Did he say anything that was not correct?
No.
Did he say anything that was misleading? I don't think so. Right?
And
but if I may, but having said that, you know, anybody could be prime minister of this country, no matter what you do or did not do. That's my view. But the prime minister indicated this is how he feels, and he made some comparisons, and he has every right to do that.
Well, he did make comparisons. In fact, he did not retract those comments. He just continued on and pressed gas, listing his life's work in his own law practice. He says being a business owner in charge of employees and payroll.
That payroll thing is a serious thing.
Oh, it is.
Payroll thing is a serious thing.
It's a tight little situation right there. And he says that he admitted, though, that Pintard has done well with his poetry and his acting career. Davis asked, what has he done, though, to help others? He went on to list how his administration funds the Dundas Center for the Performing Arts. Davis didn't end there. He said his administration is establishing a creative and performing arts school. Now, get this part. This is where I want to know more information about right here. Many creatives on social media in the Bahamas have been waiting for any government to announce this one and get into this. Davis said his office is working closely with the U.S. Embassy to ensure that Bahamian creators are fairly compensated for their work on platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Gentlemen, you all know we have been waiting for ages to be able to make an awesome living. Some people become millionaires of their work on social media, whatever that work is. And so, gentlemen, is the U.S. Embassy responsible for granting this right, or is it the central bank that's hindering Bahamians from monetizing on social media?
I am not quite sure which one it is, but I think that's an international platform based in the U.S. for the most part. So that's why I think the Prime Minister took that stance. And then again, he said to reinforce his position, his work towards strengthening and building that sector. In response to Mr. Pintard's backlash at him, attempting to say that he does not respect it. So he shows, Mr. Davis went on to show what him and his administration is doing to build up that sector. And so, which is a good thing. Again, I don't think national entertainers, local entertainers, not national, should really get into this spat between Mr. Pintard and Mr. Davis. Like Brian said, it's a political season, and they throw in these little low rocks at each other. Allow them to do that, and let's move on. Hopefully, we get on with the business of this country. This is nothing major in my perspective.
This is nothing major at all, and. Like I said before, the Prime Minister, he said what he had to say, and he came back and he did it. He doubled down on it, and that's what you're supposed to do. Is politics at the end of the day.
With reference to what he's doing
and what he's
to help
doing
the
is
sector.
politics at the end of the day, right? So
It's
look,
politics.
deal with it, move on, and let's deal with what the country needs.
This is election run now.
Election fever, man.
Fever,
yes.
yeah.
Election fever.
Well,
Don't cry over it. It ain't no big deal. He said, the Prime Minister say, I can't do this. Oh, I ain't this. Man, so
show him what you can do and what you will
prove
do.
Otherwise,
what you're going to
when
do.
people tell you can't do it,
Do
you
it.
do it. Period.
We're back after this.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
I was an electrician for 18 years, and one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we're looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Starling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry commercial vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Madam President, I'm happy you stuck around because this just came from Italy. In Europe, when someone is out sick on sick leave, the family doctor goes to their home in that period of sick days to make certain they are at home sick. So, and which doctors in the Bahamas can do this? Listen, we have to move forward because this going to get which doctors who say, listen,
go home.
Slip me
and how much I could cost?
That part right there.
How much I could cost?
If you slip me that little thing, I can tell them you home sick. You know how he is. You know. Okay, that's why. I apologize, doctors. I apologize.
It happens,
that was a
so
joke.
unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Yes. Unfortunately, it happens.
She knows.
Yeah.
So in news, listen, just move this forward, y'all. A number of card-carrying members of the Free National Movement are reportedly eyeing the constituency that is now up for grabs, given the FNM's decision to move on from its incumbent Member of Parliament, Dr. Hubert Minnis. Who are those aspiring candidates and who will get selected? Well, Jose Etienne picks it up from here, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Tensions are quietly mounting tonight over the future of Killarney, a constituency long considered an FNM stronghold, now facing uncertainty as the party mulls its next move. Eyewitness News understands that 4 F&M insiders are now positioning themselves for a run in a constituency held by former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis for nearly 2 decades. Those individuals include former F&M Chairman Darren Cash, Senator Michael Barnett Ellis, F&M Vice Chairman Lincoln Deal II, and current party chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. When contacted, Cash, Deal, and Ellis declined to comment. Attempts to reach Dr. Dwayne Sands were unsuccessful, but he told a local daily last week that his commitment remains with his former constituency of Elizabeth. The names are emerging as the F&M continues to delay the announcement of its full slate of candidates for the next general election. And at the center of it all, Dr. Minnis himself. While he has given no indication of retiring or resigning, the party has publicly stated that he will not get the endorsement from the party for the seat.
As I have said previously, I have all intentions of running.
Still, Minnis has refused to say whether he would run as an independent or under another political party's banner. The Killarney Constituency Association, however, isn't mincing words, accusing F&M leadership of trying to sideline Minnis and vowing not to support any other candidate. With multiple contenders waiting in the wings and no clear signal from the party's highest levels, the battle for Killarney is quietly gaining steam. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, gentlemen, quite interesting. I mean, of course, we have so much more to discuss on this, but your thoughts on those, the 4 hopefuls?
It's something that I saw coming for the Free National Movement. Obviously, I would have think that they would have had a better plan for this. It's getting too murky. It's getting too sloppy. You know that you were going to not allow Dr. Minnis. I think you should have managed this process a little better than this. You got a number of these persons going down there and vying for this seat. This doesn't look good. You have 4 incumbents in Parliament, 4. And you got basically 2 of them that are not going to be renominated because you have about 4 or 5 persons in each of their constituency on the ground trying to work the seat. This is not good for the Free National Movement. Don't we forget now, in Mr. Pintar's own belief in his heart of hearts, that election is going to be in September. Election is going to be called in September, and this is the kind of squandary that the party is going through. This does not speak well. I mean, even as an opposition, this doesn't speak well, so much more becoming the government. It doesn't look good. Pintar have a short time. He need to get his act together. He need to be able to pull this party together and get things working out if he really believes election is in September.
Now, this shows that something is amiss in that party, quite frankly. A couple of months ago, you indicated that you will not have Dr. Minnis run in Killarney, and you had nobody to replace him. Right? How silly. Dr. Minnis, for all purposes, is a good MP. The association, the F&M Association, wanted him. But you, the F&M, decided to pull him out and turn around and say, whoever we put there, we want you to help. Well, how silly can you be? That's stupid, quite frankly. Can you believe it? And now you got about 4 people running in that same area. Only one could win.
Yeah.
And you could bet your bottom dollar. I've been through this. I know about this.
4 strong efforts.
You could bet your bottom dollar. Those 3 who don't win, who don't get that nod, hell to break loose.
You think they'll be upset?
What you mean they could be upset?
What
you mean they'll be upset? Of course they'll be upset.
But election is close.
But then you got the leader of the opposition saying the election is supposed to be in September. And you haven't decided, well, he hasn't been nominated yet, eh? Has he?
No.
No, I don't know. Has he?
No one has. No.
And you saying election in September. Boy, listen. The PLP indicated that on the 6th of June, they're going to announce the start of the campaigning season. Well, the Prime Minister and the PLP, they've been campaigning. They've been campaigning. On the 6th of June, I think the F&M got to be careful, because if the Prime Minister decide, look here, I call this election
on September, like you're supposed.
I will call election in September. What they could do? They gotta get there. They gotta get. Firstly, they gotta work the inner party first before they could work the people. And they don't even have the leader nominated. And if the Prime Minister decide to say, not September, he could do it in 6 weeks. He could call it in 6 weeks. What do you think could happen? Nobody knows who's running in any constituency in the F&M. You don't know what the F&M plan is if they become the government. They have this perception of not being united as a party. And then you got the leader upset because the Prime Minister say he's a pirate. Really? Come on, people.
I think, Mr.
Come on, let's get with it.
Mr.
You want to
Ingram?
win? Sorry, no, if you want to win the election, we got to get with it. Because, I mean, anything could happen, nothing is certain. But the way it's looking, and looking from the outside, you got problems, man.
I think
Big problems.
Former Prime Minister Ingram said it best. He said that the Free National Movement cannot sit back and wait to win because of some of the misgivings of the Progressive Liberal Party. I think Mr. Pintar, for most part, have been following the Progressive Liberal Party. They're becoming behind. Once the Progressive Liberal Party make a move, then they're looking to make a move. The Progressive Liberal Party is now announcing that they're going to announce their campaign. I think the Free National Movement is just too far following in the back to be successful in this general election. I don't even see them coming out as a strong opposition in this general election if they continue on this path. They cannot hope that the Bahamian people, because of the last 20 years what's been happening, is just going to fall for them. It's not going to happen that way.
Listen, the cry out there, people, we vote governments out. We don't vote them in. And the cry out there, from my point of view, is not loud enough at this stage to vote the PLP out. It's not that loud. And when you don't have the party in a position to govern, let's just say if the Prime Minister on the 6th of June decides to call the election, what you could do? What you could do?
It's a whole lot to think about.
What you could do? I can tell you what you could do.
What?
Well, at Will Max Pharmacy, I can do a little jingle right now. Will Max Pharmacy on Pontiana Drive. We got plenty Depends, plenty Pampers, and we sell wet wipes. That's what you could do.
Sales and marketing.
That's what you could do.
Will come knocking on.
Will Max Pharmacy, Pontiana Drive. Listen, and all of them, I give you a big discount because I love the body. I love the body,
Yeah.
but I give you a big discount.
Half price. Yeah.
Half price.
Yeah,
Sales
half price.
department.
Half price. Sales and marketing shall come knocking on your door.
But yeah, that's fine. But you understand what will happen. In other words, that will happen. Think about it. And even if it happens in September, as the leader of the opposition said, come on, man. You're ready.
We have a lot of obviously to discuss when it comes to this political season. Obviously, we will see what the Prime Minister says on June 6th. We will see when the Free National Movement obviously puts out its list of candidates and exactly who those people are, where they'll be running. And of course, we will discuss it all for you. It's going to be quite interesting. You already see the animation here in the studio. My God. And that's just Killarney. And we haven't even mentioned Dr. Minnis in all of this. We just talk about who is running on an F&M ticket. It's going to be wild. Pull up a chair, make tea, coffee, have something else to drink if that's what you want.
Hallelujah.
But yes, absolutely. I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Of course, tonight at the top of tonight's show, the president of the BCPOU, Sherry Benjamin, and tonight contributors Ellington Ferguson and Branville McCartney, and all of you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.